When a group of municipal workers went on a work conference at a holiday village, their supposedly professional team-building exercise turned into a nightmare as they tried to escape from a masked killer. The opening scene of the movie sees a group of municipal workers jamming to a song inside their car. They stopped in a large, empty land where their team leader, Ingela, congratulated everyone on the shopping center where they were going to land in Kolarangan. Ingela thanked another workmate, Jonas, for making the project a reality. Jonas made a speech about the project for a while before they discussed the team-building conference they were going to. The group then arrived at Kolarshan Holiday Village and was welcomed by the Holiday Village staff. A female staff member, Jenny, leads the group to the guest house where they will be staying. One of the municipal employees, Lena, approached Cleo, the Holiday Village staff in charge of the guests' team building, and informed her about her recent hospital visit in which she was advised to avoid any kind of unnecessary stress. Cleo assured Lena that there would be no unnecessary stress, as the team building would be nice and relaxing. Inside the guest house, the municipal workers had to be paired up for a room, and Jenny gave each pair their keys. The chef of the Holiday Village, Carl, was cooking for the guests. But when he realized that there was no gas anymore, he decided to fill up the gas tank as Roger, the handyman in the Holiday Village, was nowhere in sight. Jenny tried to stop Carl from going, as the guests were going to have lunch in 2 hours. But Carl didn't listen, and still left anyway. While driving, something hit Carl's car. He stopped by the side road to check it, only to find that something had been caught in his tire. While trying to pull the wood out, Carl heard a hammering sound coming from the woods and decided to check what it was. He walked deeper into the woods and noticed strings all around the place. He ran his finger on a string when someone suddenly appeared behind him, hitting the back of his head with a hammer. Meanwhile, the municipal workers were having a conference about the Kolarangan shopping center they wanted to construct. Despite the fact that the project was controversial and the netizens were complaining about it, they still wanted to build the center for their own benefit. The group planned how they were going to advertise Kolarangan Shopping Center to other communities, which led to arguments. Jonas decides that a little break is needed and the others leave the room. During the break, Jonas told the team that IKEA was also coming to set up shop in Kolarangan. While the group was talking, Amir approached Lena and asked her how she was. Amir apologized for not standing up to Lena when she was on sick leave. He saw how overworked she was and wanted to talk to Ingela about it, but couldn't do so. The municipal workers went back to their conference and discussed the cost of the project. Nadia, a new addition to the team, was confused about the project's actual cost, as it seemed like there was some kind of foul play. Ingela told her that it was just how things worked for them and assured Nadia that Jonas had full control of the situation, so there was nothing to worry about. Lena, who had been quiet the whole time, requested to see the contracts and was also confused. She asked what happened to the compensation agreement for Poulsen, a farmer and his family, saying that Poulsen was entitled to get something from them as his farm was demolished just for this project. Without answering Lena's question, everyone's silence was enough to let Lena know that Poulsen wouldn't be given any compensation anymore. Jonas then told Lena that she already agreed to everything that was written in the contract, but Lena denied it, as she only remembered signing a different contract. Jonas insisted on what he said, and everyone started speaking over Lena, leaving the latter no room to defend herself. Ingela stopped the others from arguing and reminded them of what happened before when they had a nasty argument. When Nadia asked what happened, she learned that a former employee, Franz, attacked Ingela during the argument. During lunch, Lena and Jonas went to have a private talk, and Lena told Jonas that she really didn't sign the contract. Using Lena's recent sick leave against her, Jonas made Lena think that she probably just forgot that she signed the contract due to an extended period of stress. Jonas then proceeded to call for Roger to get some toilet paper for their cabin, while Lena went back to the dining area and overheard Ingela mentioning the name Franz. She asked who Franz was, and everyone went silent. After leaving the toilet paper in Jonas and Kai's shared cabin, Roger went to relax for a bit and lay down on a hammock. Just as he was drinking beer, a machete suddenly stabbed through his chest from behind. The unknown killer wrapped Roger's dead body with the hammock and pushed his body into the river. Back in the guest house, Jonas tried to entertain the others by wearing a cartoonish mascot, but their short fun led to another argument and an upset. Jonas walked away. Ingela approached Jonas, and to make him feel better, she gifted him a golden shovel as a sign of respect for all he's achieved. Later on, the team went on team building, with Cleo leading them. Cleo told everyone to put their phones in a box and change into their exercise clothes. Walking to the cabins together, Lena told Amir that she felt bad about the contracts and wanted to give compensation to Polson. To Lena's shock, Amir informed her that Polson had killed himself after his farm was demolished. During the team building, the municipal workers were split into two teams and competed against each other. Unbeknownst to the group, the unknown killer had taken the box containing their phones and put on the cartoonish smiley mask that Jonas was wearing. Since the others were in the team building, Jenny was left alone inside the guest house. She was fixing the internet router when a nearby door opened. Jenny cautiously looked up and saw the masked killer peeking at her. When the masked killer ran towards her, Jenny moved quickly and tried to escape. She ran to the kitchen, took a knife, and threw it at the killer's masked head. It didn't faze the killer, who threw a pan at her head, rendering her unconscious. The masked killer then proceeded to kill the unconscious Jenny. Meanwhile, the team was going on a zip line, but Lena refused to join them, causing Kaj to make fun of her for being scared. So while the others were busy on the zip line, Lena went back to the cabin and sneaked into Jonas and Kaj's shared cabin to use Jonas's laptop. She opened the procurement of land employment contracts and gathered evidence to prove that Jonas and the others were corrupt. Lena finished copying the documents and hid under the bed just as Jonas entered the room. Lena waited for Jonas to leave the room before sneaking out of it. Later on, the group gathered around for a relaxing night while Cleo went looking for the other Holiday Village staff. She entered the kitchen and found a trail of blood leading to a room. When she opened the room, Cleo screamed as she found Jenny's body hanging out and ran, only to bump into the masked killer. The masked killer chased Cleo and killed her inside the conference room, unheard by the municipal workers who were still celebrating outside. Lena approached the group and discreetly gestured for Nadja and Amir to follow her. Nadja excused herself to the bathroom together with Amir, and Jonas took notice of this but didn't dare to follow. Lena told Amir and Nadja about the corruption. They then approached Jonas and bluntly asked if he had ordered Kaj to forge her signature. Lena then revealed that Jonas lied about the big chains coming to support their project. Hearing this, Jonas asked to talk with Lena privately. Inside his room, Jonas took off his robe to reveal his naked body and tried to persuade Lena to work with him, promising to use his strings to get Lena a higher position. Lena refused and showed Jonas the flash drive containing the proof of Jonas's corruption. Jonas threatened Lena, but the latter brushed it off and left the room. The celebration ended, and Kai and Annette were the only ones left outside when the masked killer appeared with an outboard motor in his hands. The masked killer used the outboard motor to kill Kaj, while Annetta ran away from the scene. Meanwhile, Ingela went to the conference room to look for Jenny, only to be met with a crime scene. She ran outside to call for help, but was captured by the masked killer. The latter then wrapped a flagpole rope around Ingela's neck and pulled it up, choking Ingela to death. Hearing Ingela's screams, the others stepped out of their cabins to check what was going on and were horrified to see what was happening. The masked killer approached them and everyone ran away. Jonas and Lena both ran into the woods, and the latter helped Jonas out when he got caught by the strings. Using the raft they built during the team building, they paddled away from the killer. Suddenly, Jonas stopped paddling and demanded the flash drive. Not seeing the point of fighting when their lives are at risk, Lena just handed Jonas the flash drive, commenting that Jonas is crazy. Jonas then kicked Lena off the raft. Lena swam back to the land and ran away from the masked killer, only to fall on top of Carl's body. She pulled out a wooden spike trap and hit the masked killer with it, before running away again. Meanwhile, the rest of the team were hiding in the guest house, where they guessed that the masked killer could be Franz. While the other three were whispering, Amir left the guest house to look for Lena. Nadia, on the other hand, looked for a weapon they could use against the killer when she was grabbed by the said person's hair. Using a pair of scissors, Nadia cut her hair only to escape and used the same scissors to stab the killer. She reunited with Torbjorn and Ava and looked out the window to see that the masked killer had made their van explode. They were later joined by Lena and Amir. Outside the guest house, Annette came back from wherever she was hiding and was pulled into a cabin by Jonas. Annette stitched Jonas's head up, and the two of them wondered who the killer was. Just like the others, Annette also thought that the killer was Franz, as she told him about their team-building conference. In anger, Jonas left Annette by herself, but the latter followed him. Seeing the killer, Jonas used a bike with a front cart to escape, making Annette push it, only for him to leave her behind. Annette tried to get on the killer's good side, and she took off his mask, only to be shocked to find that the killer wasn't Franz at all. The killer stabbed her, and Annette aimlessly walked away, seemingly in a trance, with a sickle impaling the top of her head. The others decided to stick together, and when they were about to leave, Amir stepped on a newspaper. When he saw the contents of it, he realized that the killer was actually Poulsson's son. Poulsson's son was the one who found his father hanging in the stable and is now taking revenge on the municipal workers, as they are the ones who pushed his father into killing himself. The group was shocked, and only then did they realize that they were now reaping what they had sowed. Each of them grabbed weapons and walked through the woods when they saw the masked killer. The group ran away, with Eva and Torbjorn running in a different direction. Nadia's leg was caught by a bear trap, but she managed to stab through the eye hole of the killer's mask, giving her enough time to free herself. It was already morning by the time Torbjorn and Eva got back to the guest house. The killer came to kill them, and Torbjorn fought against him to let Eva escape. Just as the killer was about to kill Torbjorn, Eva came back, screaming as she attacked the killer, which urged the latter to run away. With no escape, Eva and Torbjorn decided to just fight the killer. They found Jason's golden shovel and cautiously walked through the guest house. The killer appeared from behind them and choked Eva. The latter kicked the wall and pushed herself out of the window, with the killer behind her. The killer got a drill and pinned Eva down. Fortunately, Torbjorn had pulled the wire and turned the drill off. He burned the mask, and the killer killed the fire with water before going back to Eva and Torbjorn. The killer was just about to attack the two when Nadja appeared behind him and cut his head off with the golden shovel. Meanwhile, Lena and Amir, who had managed to escape, used the zip line to get to the other side of the river when Amir saw a spike trap waiting for them. Unable to stop, Amir switched positions with Lena to sacrifice himself for Lena's sake. Lena ran away in tears and found the box containing their phones. She called the emergency, and moments later she saw the cops arriving, going straight to the holiday village. She tried to call for their attention, but to no avail. Suddenly, she was attacked by a crazed Jason, who pushed into the river. The two of them fought, and Lena managed to get the upper hand by putting Jason on a chokehold. Pulling on the open wound on his forehead, Lena pulled his upper head off, killing him. Lena went back to the holiday village where the cops already were and was tended to by the medic. She was assisted on a stretcher, and a cop asked what happened. Lena remembered what Ingela said before and answered that it was professional development training before she was put into the ambulance.